Yo, what's good, y'all? It's M20. Today I'm gonna be showing y'all how I made beats for Yeat and Kankan. It's been a fat minute since my last tutorial, and this one is highly requested, so I thought I'd make it. And also, if you guys have any other ideas for tutorials, please leave a comment down below. I'd really like to hear what y'all want to see. And before I get into the video, one last thing, make sure y'all like it and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. It helps out the channel a lot, and I'm gonna be dropping some sauce in this video. So without any further ado, I'm gonna just get into it. So I got 5 sounds pulled up right here. I don't want to pick them out during the video because it takes me a while to do that. So the first sound I got right here is just a synth. It sounds like this. So I'm gonna just do a real basic melody like this. Then I'm gonna pitch that down an octave. Just real basic like that. And I'm gonna just copy that over 4 times. So it just lays the foundation for the beat, real simple. And another thing to make sure is when you use like low synths like this, make sure there's no release. So when the note stops, it like doesn't have any tail to it. There's no extra sound. Like it just stops like that. That's really important for these type of beats. Now for the next sound right here, which is another type of synth. It's like a really like crazy type of sound. Those are always good for this type of beat. Try to find like the craziest sounds you can or make them yourself. For this one, I'm gonna try to figure out which notes should go on top of this, and then I'll play you guys what I make. Everything I made in my mind, I done accomplished it. I was serving chicken to. Alright, so this is what my second melody sounds like. Again, it's super basic. I don't like to do too much with these melodies. But yeah, this is what this one sounds like. Real simple like that, just a couple of notes. And you can see it kind of follows how an 808 pattern would typically go. That's a good thing for these type of beats, is to make your melodies be in the spot that your 808s are, so then it layers, because then that'll make your 808s hit harder. But yeah, now I'm gonna just move on to my next melody right here. And for this one, I got another sound loaded. It's just another synth, and I'm gonna make a melody for this one, then I'll show y'all what that sounds like.
346 minutes later.
Alright, so for this melody, I actually decided to layer it with the first melody, and I extended the last note a little bit. So what it sounds like now is like this. So it just adds a little bit more texture to that first melody. If you hear it without that one, then with it, it just adds a little bit more like grittiness to it, makes it harder. So yeah, that's what I decided to do there. Layering melodies like with different sounds is definitely a good idea for these type of beats. Now for my next sound, I got another synth pulled up, and yes, synths are really like what you want to use in these type of beats. You shouldn't really be using any other type of sounds, because most of these beats have like just basic synth sounds, and that's what makes up the melodies. So this one is just like a lead like this. Pretty cool lead. It has like a little bit of glide on it. Glide is like something that's really important when you have leads. It just makes it sound a lot smoother, sounds a lot better. But yeah, I'm gonna make a pattern with this, and then I'm gonna show y'all what that sounds like. Alright, so for this one, I just did 4 notes right here at the end of bar 2 and at the end of bar 6. And it kind of just fills the gap of the rest of the melodies, because there's not much playing right here. So with this, it sounds like this. I think it sounds pretty hard, and you'll notice in a lot of beats like this that Kankan and Yeat hop on, it'll have melodies like this where it's at the end of like a phrase, and it's just like 4 notes going up or down. It sounds pretty cool. It just kind of like leads into the next 808 well. So yeah, now I'm gonna add another melody like this that's another lead to kind of contrast it and to fill in parts over here, because I didn't want to copy and paste it like 4 times, because then it would just get boring. So I got another sound that I'm gonna use to make that.
1 eternity later.
Alright, so for this melody, I did a pretty similar thing, except instead of ascending, I made it descend. Then I have a note up here, which I think would sound cool leading into the next bar. And I also used a different sound, so together it sounds like this. So it also has like a different kind of sound to it, different texture than this sound, which is cool. It just keeps it interesting as the beat plays, because it's going to get repeated a lot throughout it, and you don't want it getting boring. All right, so that's all the melodies I'm going to do here. I'm not doing too much. I'm not adding any pads, no other stuff like that. It's really good to keep it just simple so people can hear the rapping, people can focus on the drums and all of that. Just keeping simple, catchy leads is really the key to these beats. All right, so for my drums, I'm gonna be using my new drum kit, the M20 Size Drum Kit Volume 3, which I just put together, and it has some of my best sounds in it and just the sounds that I like to use in general. So I'm gonna just grab a hi-hat from here. I'm gonna just use this one, to be honest. It's really my go-to hi-hat. It sounds good on every beat. And I'm gonna shorten it a little bit like that, and I'm gonna just get started on a hi-hat pattern. Alright, so this is what my hi-hat pattern looks like, and I'll play it right here. So yeah, I'm using the galloping hi-hat pattern from Sorry About That and some other Yeat songs. Shout out Tragic for coming up with this hi-hat pattern. Yeah, it's pretty much just 16th notes like this with an 8th note after it, or like 3 16th notes every quarter note. And I just added some notes going down and then like a little like stutter here where it's 6 16th notes in a row, and then gaps at the end where I take out the last 8th note. Really straightforward hi-hat pattern. And if you want to take a closer look at anything that I'm doing, the FLP for this beat will be in the kit, and it'll have all the sounds bounced and everything loaded into it, so you can load it immediately and look at all my patterns and all that stuff if you missed something. And I'll also have, of course, all the sounds I'm using in this beat in the drum kit right here. So now for my next sound, I'm just going to add a basic snare on it, and for this I will actually be going back to my M20 Size Drum Kit Volume 1, because there's a snare that I think would be perfect for this beat in there. Alright, so I got my snare from the M20 Size Drum Kit Volume 1, which is my first drum kit, and it sounds like this. Just real punchy, hard snare, and I'm gonna just lay that down in the normal spots like this. Nothing too crazy. Alright, so I got the snare down, so this is what it sounds like with the hi-hat and the snare and the melodies. And I'm gonna just level out the beat a little bit with the knobs here, just because the melodies are a little bit louder than the drums. So I'm gonna turn up the drums like that. So now I'm gonna move on to my next sound, which I'm gonna be using an open hat, and I'll grab one from my drum kit right here. I'm gonna just use this one. It's a nice short one, and I'm gonna literally just put this on the downbeat every 2 bars like this, just to kind of exaggerate that first beat, because you always want, when the drums come in, it to hit super hard. The open hat helps with that when it's layered with the 808. So this is what it sounds like with the open hat layered on top. So already the drums are hitting pretty hard. The open hat is always a nice touch to add on the downbeat every 2 bars. And now I'm gonna move on to the 808. All right, so I'm gonna go through some of the 808s in my kit, and I'll pick one that I like. I'm gonna use this one. It's really just a Zay 808, but boosted a little bit to make it more punchy. And I would just follow that first melody just to keep like exaggerating that bounce, because that's always a good thing to do. So when you have like a solid bounce or a solid melody or something like that, you can just keep layering stuff on it, and then it'll just sound good. So I'm gonna just do the 808 like that, turn the velocity all the way up, and I'm gonna copy this over, and then I'm gonna add 2 notes like this at the end just to make it feel a little bit more complete. All right, so this is what the 808 sounds like. Again, super simple pattern, but when it all comes together, it sounds really fire. So this is how it sounds now. So yeah, that's what it sounds like with the 808. And now I'm actually gonna add another snare just to add a little bit more bounce to the beat, because it still feels like it was missing something. So I got a few snares in my kit, and I'm gonna go with this one for this beat. Just a light snare. I don't want anything too crazy because this snare is already hitting super hard. So I'm gonna just add it down like this, just on the upbeats here in between the 2 snares. And I'm gonna just, again, copy this all the way over. Really don't need to be doing too much here. So this is what it sounds like with this snare, and it should add a little bit more bounce to the beat. All right, so the snare added a little bit more bounce. The beat is hitting hard, but it still needs one more thing. Yes, it is a Yeat type beat. I gotta add the bell. And of course, I got the bell in the M20 Size Drum Kit Volume 3 right here. That is the official bell. And I'm gonna add a little bell pattern like that to add to the melody and the drums.
Everything I made in my mind, I done accomplished it. I was serving chicken to
Now this is what it sounds like with the bell and the drums and the melodies, and it should be a complete Yeat Kankan type beat. So yeah, now I'm actually do a little bit of mixing stuff to make the drums hit a little bit harder. And I do have some mixer presets included in my drum kit, which I'll be using to make this beat sound 5. So I'm gonna just route all these to my mixer like this. I already got 1 through 5 with my melodies. So I'm gonna go right here and I'm gonna just route it like that. You could do Command Shift L if you're on Mac, Control Shift L if you are on Windows. I'm just gonna level them out a little bit and then I'll show y'all what that sounds like. Alright, so I got the beat leveled out a little bit, and I'm actually going to take all my melodies, which I routed all of them right here. If you select all of them holding Command, you right click down here, route to this track only. I do this on most of my beats, so I could put an EQ on it and cut out the low end because you don't want the melodies to clash with your 808. So I'm gonna just cut it about here. So then the 808 could kind of have its room in the mix. And now I'm actually going to add the hi-hat mixer preset. So adds just a little bit of sauce onto the hi-hat, makes it a little bit brighter, a little bit more crispy. And I'm also going to put on, of course, my master preset, which will make the drums hit a lot harder, which you'll hear right here after I add it. So now with the new master preset added, this is what it sounds like. So drums hitting way harder right now. I'll still level it out a little bit, but yeah, that is pretty much the whole beat, really keeping it simple. I'll do a little bit of arrangement and then I'll show you guys what it sounds like. However, if you do want to hear the final beat, you can go click the link in the description because I will have the full beat there uploaded on my channel as a different beat. So you can listen to the whole thing, download it, whatever you want to do, buy it. And I will also have the links to the M20 Sauce drum kit number 3 in the description so y'all could get it. I would highly recommend it. It's my go-to kit for all these beats that I make for Yeat, Kankan, and all the other artists that I work with. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll show you guys what the arrangement is like at the end. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.